Welcome to Aging Insight with your host, John Ross and Lisa Schollmeyer. This program is made possible by
Welcome everyone to Aging Insight. I'm Lisa Schollmeyer. I'm here with John Ross, and we're elder law attorneys here in your community. Our program here, Aging Insight, is we're just trying to bring you information that you can use as you navigate through your retirement and you deal with health issues, housing issues, financial issues, and legal issues. So we think Aging Insight's a great resource for you. And today, John, we're going to be talking about financial issues.
That's right.
Which are certainly first and foremost on many people's minds as they think about retiring, or maybe they're in retirement. So today I wanted to kind of do a master class, if you will, on annuities, because annuities for many people are a bit of a, they're kind of like the Loch Ness Monster. You've heard about them,
right?
But
you might have seen one.
You might have seen one in a book. I don't know, but you need to. But today we're going to learn a lot more about them because they are very. They can be very useful financial tools as part of your retirement repertoire, but they also deserve a lot of caution. So figure today, let's talk about annuities.
Yeah, well, and when you're going to start talking about these sort of things, you got to remember that what we're talking about is the context here. Oftentimes as people are getting older, particularly in retirement, you're not working again. You're done there. So the income that you have, you're going to have Social Security. You might have a pension. If you just happen to work for one of the companies that still offers pensions, or you were a government employee, in which case you probably get a little pension from that. But for the most part, the rest of your livelihood is going to be based on the fact that you have savings out there. And, savings that if you put them in the stock market could go up or down, and that contains a lot of risk. On the other hand, if you just leave it in a bank account, you're not getting any rate of return on your investment. And so, you're concerned about the financial security, what to do with your money. And oftentimes, Lisa, this is where you start getting the folks coming out of the woodwork saying, well, I've got the solution to all of your worries out there.
Right.
It's an annuity.
It's an annuity. And John, that is often how I see a person who is trying to sell an annuity. They pitch it as a solution to worries, not as a financial investment,
right.
necessarily.
It's not like, you could invest in this and you can invest in this and here's the pros and here's the cons. It's you could invest in this, but there's danger and risk, and you could invest in this and there's security and peace and comfort.
Right.
So I guess the thing is we got to learn about these.
Right. So the first thing to learn about annuities is annuity is just kind of a fancy word for a contract that you have with a financial or insurance company. And under that contract, you give a certain sum of money to the company, and under the terms that you two have agreed to, the company will give you back money, maybe for the rest of your life, every month for the rest of your life, maybe for the next 10 years. It just depends on how you've structured the agreement. But so in its most basic form, an annuity is just you giving your money to a third party, that insurance company, that financial custodian, and them investing it for you in some way, and them promising to pay you a certain amount each month or each year. So that's really the basic of an annuity. But once you get past the basic, there's a lot of different things.
It can start getting crazy because Unlike, say, stocks and bonds. Stocks and bonds, when you invest in stocks and bonds and mutual funds and things like that, those are all regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission. They have lots of rules as far as how those investments can be sold.
What kind of information that
kind of
investors
yeah.
must be provided?
And who can sell those things. You have to have certain licenses and things. Whereas an annuity is an insurance contract. And so unlike stocks and bonds and mutual funds, annuities are actually investments, but they're investments in insurance, and so they're not regulated by things like the SEC. They're instead regulated by state insurance commissions.
Right.
And that can vary from state to state and things like that. So also with annuities, you got to remember that no matter what annuity it is, you got three characters. You have the owner of the policy, you have the annuitant, and that's because this, again, it's life insurance, so there's got to be a life
Right.
that we're basing it off of. And then you have the beneficiary. That's the person that's going to receive the benefit. So for example, we can start by breaking these things into two categories. Immediate annuity versus a deferred annuity.
Right, and at least in this case, John, the words are pretty descriptive of the type of investment and insurance that it is. An immediate annuity is an annuity in which you hand over money to the insurance company, and then immediately thereafter, you start receiving payments from that insurance company per the terms of your contract. So, there's no delay. If you give the money in February, you start receiving payments on that contract in March, perhaps.
Yeah, so for example, if I were to, a very simple form would be if I gave the insurance company $10,000 and then they're going to give me $100 a month for 100 months, well then I'm going to get my $10,000 back plus a little interest.
Right. Over the next 100 months.
Over the next 100
Yes.
months. So that's an immediate annuity. The other form would then be a deferred annuity, and this is where you give the insurance company the money and they hold it until some designated point in the future. Like for example, I could put my money in a deferred annuity that says it's going to grow at a certain rate, say 2% or 3% or something like that. And then when I turn 65 or 75 or in 10 years or in 15 years, then they promise to give me a certain benefit back. Maybe just my money plus interest, like a CD at the bank would. Or maybe some other type of benefit where after 5 years or 10 years, I get monthly payments for a certain period of time. So like you said, it's kind of self-explanatory. Immediate annuity means you're going to get immediate benefit. Deferred means you're going to get a benefit at some point in time in the future.
And John, typically deferred annuities cost less to take out those contracts than an immediate annuity because the insurance company there is depending on some time factor to try to build up to build up the investment. So they take less money up front because they're going to have 5 or 10 years to generate additional monies.
Well, like most insurance contracts, the insurance company figures they can make more money with your money than
Than
you
you
can
can.
make with
Yes.
your money. So we got several other things to talk about when it comes to these annuities so that you'll be fully versed in these, but you're going to have to stick around until after the break. So stick around, we'll be right back.
I'm so glad we found the Wadley Senior Clinic. Their team specializes in caring for older adults, and their doctors listen and work with me to keep me healthy and independent. With monthly educational programs, x-ray and lab, and state-of-the-art exam rooms, I get expert care and understanding about what I'm going through. Best yet, they're easy to get to right off the interstate at Jefferson. See what Wadley Senior Clinic could do for you. Wadley Senior Clinic, where healthy relationships begin.
At Advantage Senior Care, our goal is for seniors to stay home longer, stay healthy, and above all, stay happy. Our individualized plans are tailored to your loved one's needs, from meal preparation, shopping, and light housekeeping to bathing and dressing, mobility assistance, and companionship. Our trained caregivers will help maintain your loved one's independence while providing you with peace of mind. See how our family can help yours. Trust our locally owned and family-operated senior care service. Call Advantage Senior Care today.
Welcome back to Aging Insight. I'm John Ross here with Lisa Scholmeyer, and today we're talking about annuities. And we want you to know what these things are and what to look for. And so we'll just start off by kind of breaking down the different types. We started out with talking about that there is an immediate annuity where you start getting money immediately. And then there's also a deferred annuity where you give away your money and then you get a benefit at some point in the future. Right. So you've got those two. But you got others out there.
Right, and another factor in an annuity contract is whether or not this is a fixed annuity or a variable annuity. And again, I like this, pretty self-explanatory. A fixed annuity either has a fixed rate of return, such as 2%, 4%, or it has a fixed payout over the term of the contract. So, it's very reliable, and that's what a lot of people like about annuities is that they can ascertain the risk because they've contracted for it. They know they're going to get a 2% return on their money, or they know they're going to get a certain amount of payment each month for however long, and so those are fixed terms in annuities. But there's also a variable annuity, which works a little differently.
Yeah, variable annuities, these oftentimes the investment, the rate of return, a fixed where it says you're going to get 3%, and you get 3%, just like you asked for. A variable is going to vary in some way, shape, or form. For example, it could say that they're going to give you an interest rate equal to, say, the prime interest rate as published by the Wall Street Journal on the first day of every month. In which case your interest rate can go up or down as time goes. Now, generally with these contracts, they'll set a minimum. They'll say
it can't go below.
It can't not go below a certain amount, but otherwise it can fluctuate. Others, and these start looking a whole lot like actual stock and bond type investments, where they say the rate of return you get in your variable annuity will be equal to the rate of return for a S&P 500 index fund or something similar. And so those can actually vary wildly up and down, and can in many cases contain not quite as much risk as stocks and bonds, but very similar. But again, they usually have some sort of minimum guarantee. Right. In there.
And John, right now with like our fixed annuities, I do have clients who had bought fixed annuities many years ago when the interest rates were much higher.
Right.
And so those clients are doing quite well with their annuities because maybe their annuity is guaranteeing them a 6% rate of return, which is a great investment these days for
where
for
the average is 2 or 3.
Right. But of course the difference is on a fixed annuity, if you contract for a 3% return and the stock market and interest rates go up, well, the insurance company gets to keep the difference.
That's right.
Between your contracted for 3%, and if they're making 6%, well, then they won the bet.
That's right. So they're hoping they can make more money with your money. The other way that these things is how you get into them. For example, you can have a single premium annuity. And this is where you pay a lump sum up front.
Right.
This is the example I gave earlier, where I give $10,000 and then I get $100 a month back for some period of time. That's that one payment.
Right.
The other type are multiple payments.
Right, where you invest a little bit in that annuity contract each month, kind of like saving for retirement, but you make so many payments into that annuity, and then eventually, once you pass a certain time or a certain investment, then that annuity turns around and starts paying you.
Yeah. And you can also have these things that are, you remember I said that, there's the owner and the annuitant and then the beneficiary. These do not have to all be just one person.
Yeah, we've really been talking about it as if it is all the same person.
Right.
If the owner of the annuity is also the annuitant, the life, and then also the beneficiary, but they can be different people.
They can be different people, and you can have where one person is the owner. You can have a husband and wife that both own the policies. These would be like a joint annuity. So for example, if you're going to have something that pays for the life of, if I'm going to say, I'm going to give you this money, and then the insurance company is going to give it back to me in payments for life.
Yes.
If that's a single, then it's for my life. But if Lisa and I do it together, and it's for both of our lives, then it's a joint annuity.
Right. So, and that kind of raises the other question, John, which is annuities. They can pay you back. Either many of them are based, and they will say, we'll pay you a certain amount or a certain rate of return over your lifetime, and that's a lifetime annuity. Or they also could pay you back under a fixed term of years, that for 20 years will pay you this much per month. And then, the bet there is that you won't outlive the annuity contract term, or that if you do, then maybe other investments or whatnot will pick up the slack once the annuity completes the payout. So generally, John, the insurance company, they're not in it to lose money.
Nope.
So if you look at purchasing an annuity, they're going to look at your age at the time you're purchasing it, when the payouts will start, whether the payouts will be for your lifetime or for a fixed term. So all of these variables go into the cost of the annuity or the initial investment into the annuity.
Yeah, which all brings us up to whether or not these things are good ideas. Because they might be, they might not. So we're going to spend the last segment kind of going over some of the pros and cons of these, but you're going to have to stick around until after the break for that. So stick around, we'll be right back.
At Advantage Senior Care, our goal is for seniors to stay home longer, stay healthy, and above all, stay happy. Introducing the Independence Check. A trained caregiver will visit your loved one in the comfort of their home, providing assistance with medicines, meal prep, caring companionship, and more.
Miss Smith, I just stopped by your dad's. He's taking his medicine and doing great.
See how an Independence Check can make all the difference in your loved one's day. Call Advantage Senior Care today.
The Wadley Senior Clinic has been such a blessing for our family. Because they specialize in geriatric care, they take the time to really focus on Dad's needs. Their exam rooms are specially designed for seniors, and they offer lab and x-ray on site. With monthly educational programs on health and wellness of the mind and body, our healthcare questions get answered. Best of all, they accept Dad's Medicare benefits. See what the Wadley Senior Clinic can do for you. Wadley Senior Clinic, where healthy relationships begin.
Welcome back, everyone, to Aging Insight. I'm Lisa Scholmeyer here with John Ross. Today we're talking about annuities and what they are and what kind of different factors go into them. And in our last segment today, we kind of wanted to talk about the pros and cons of annuities. John, everyone has an opinion about annuities. Often that opinion is tied to whether or not that person's receiving a commission for selling the annuity. But the annuities can have a proper place in a retirement plan. So I want to talk about some good things.
Yeah, so there are some good things about annuities. First of all, because they are insurance contracts, they are going to have some guarantees built into them. Yes. If the policy says that you're going to get 3%, you're going to get 3%. If it says that it's going to, it can vary with the stock market, but it'll never go below a certain amount, then it's never going to go below a certain amount. So you've got some guarantees built in here, and particularly if you're talking about income for your lifetime.
Yes.
you know, it might be, that might give you some comfort knowing that I'm going to get this $200 every month
For the rest,
for the
of,
rest
my
of my
life.
life.
That's
Doesn't
right.
matter how long I live. If I live to be 120, I'm still going to be getting this $200 every month. And you might say that gives me some security.
Right. So the annuities can give you some guarantees, which are nice. They also annuities don't have contribution limits. So, you know, if you are in mid-career stage or thinking about your retirement savings, you know, if you invest in a 401k or an IRA, there are some limitations as to how much of your income you can invest in those retirement vehicles, but annuities don't have those contribution limits. So if you choose to use an annuity contract as part of your retirement planning, then you can purchase as large or a contract as you like, put as much money as you like into those contracts. There's no limit.
Yeah, I might like to be able to put a whole bunch of money in my IRA so it'll grow tax-free, but I can't do it. But I
Right.
can put a whole bunch of money in an annuity
Yes.
that can grow tax-free until I pull it out. Those are, you know, so tax-deferred annuities, they're out there. And so, yeah, there's several different things in all of this that are good. There are some bad things in here, and unfortunately, the reason there's such a lot of bad information out there is because there's lots of bad annuities. There are some very good ones
Yes.
that are very appropriate, sold by reputable people.
But you
There's
know,
lots of the other.
there's lots of the other, because one of the things about annuities is that the whoever sells the annuity contract to you, they make a nice commission off of the sale of that contract. I mean, you know, insurance is just a fact of life. We all have to have car insurance, maybe homeowners insurance, health insurance, and essentially an annuity is really kind of like retirement insurance. So if you purchase an annuity, you're paying a commission to the agent who sold it to you, and those commissions can be as high as 15% of the total value of the annuity contract. And many times the person who sells you the annuity, they get their commission all up front. So they are very motivated to sell you a product because they're looking at that commission that they need to meet this month's bills. And John, the commission is just one factor in the fees that are part of annuities.
Right, and you know, you got to figure the bigger the commission, then that means that if the insurance company thinks they can pay that salesman more money, then the insurance company is thinking they're going to make more money off of your money. And if they're making more money off of your money, then somebody's losing in this deal, and it's probably you.
It's probably.
So that's, yeah, like Lisa's point is here you've got a lot of these things that the incentive oftentimes is to sell the bad ones and not the good ones because of these commissions. And like you said, this also goes into the fees. Many of these policies charge fees. For example, if they're going to be investing the proceeds of the annuity contract into, you know, mutual funds or stocks and bonds to generate that income that they have guaranteed you. These are your variable type annuities that are tied to certain funds or things. They usually will have fees in there for management. You know, they'll say, oh, well, because we're managing these assets, we're going to charge a fee for you, a fee to you. Those fees sometimes can be very high. So, for example, if I said, oh, well, I've got this annuity contract and it's going to pay you a 7% rate of return. You know, at least if I said, hey, here's an investment in today's market that's going to pay a 7% rate of return, you got to be thinking, well,
I need to take a look at that.
I need to take a look. And nothing else out there that's paying 7%. Now, if I didn't also tell you, well, yeah, it pays 7%, but there are some fees, and those fees are 5%.
Yeah, so by the time you get your money, it's less our fees.
Right. And so the reality of it is all they're really offering you is a 2% rate of return. You know, 7 minus 5 is 2. And so, yeah, they can say, hey, I offer you a 7% rate of return, not telling you that there's 5% percent in fees hidden in all of that.
So fees and commissions are certainly a downside to annuities. And another downside to an annuity is it ties up your money. It locks it up in this contract. So, you know, if you do a single premium deferred annuity and you give $50,000 to an insurance company, that in 5 years they're going to start paying you $500 a month. Well, if there has a crisis in your life, you know, in the first 2 years, you cannot go to that insurance company and demand your money back. Or if you do, if the contract even allows for that, there is a significant termination penalty where they're going to keep a large percent of your money.
Well, yeah, and the same thing goes with if you're receiving monthly payments. You say, well, yeah, $200 a month sounds great, and I can live off of that extra $200 a month, right up until the point where you need $250. And when you need $250, all you can get is $200.
That's right.
In fact, there's whole industries out there that advertise on TV and have ridiculous little jingles about buying it now.
Buying your annuity from you.
Because they know that people get into these annuity contracts thinking that they're a good idea, but then when they realize they need their money, they can't get back out of them. Right. And so these other companies will sweep in and buy it from you so that you can get cash now. And then you're really getting robbed.
Yeah. So you know, annuities, they are a piece of the retirement puzzle. They are certainly not a one-size-fits-all product. And you know, John, I see a lot of folks who think that an annuity is always a great product for everyone. That is certainly not true. But could be a wise choice for you depending on your circumstances, but you just really have to beware of the fees, commissions, the terms that you're agreeing to in your annuity, because all of that plays a role in your future retirement security.
Yeah, and always not a bad idea to ask somebody about that type of investment who's not going to get paid on the advice.
Right, like yes,
you know,
a financial advisor that's not selling you the product,
right,
a CPA,
an elder law attorney,
yes,
who can look at that sort of thing and say, yeah, maybe not this one. So that's why you get good advice. That's why you watch this show, so we can give you good advice. And so you can keep watching us. You can listen to our radio show. You can pick up our magazine. We're out there. We want you to get the information. So until next week, we'll see you then.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us for this week's Aging Insight program with John Ross and Lisa Scholmeyer. This program is made possible by